What's going on, guys? I want to go over some of the trades that I took today, kind of show you guys the setup and what I'm really looking for as a scalper who trades the NASDAQ futures with prop firms, right? So normally to start the day, I start off with a little bit smaller size inside the first 30 minutes of the market open, anywhere between 3 and 5 micros. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because the range is bigger, there's more volatility. So if I take a loss, I don't want to take a $500 loss off the open. I'd rather take a $150, $250 loss off the open. So what I was kind of looking at was, if we were going to get a push higher, we were going to need to hold this linear regression. Okay, so the linear regression here, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chart. I'm going to try to cover it price action wise. So if you guys want to follow along on your charts, you can kind of mark out these prices and see what I'm talking about. So what I was looking at in terms of the linear regression, I was looking at a price of 25,170. Okay, so right in this range, because right in this range, I also had a 50 EMA and a 50 SMA. So I've got a bunch of support stacked up here. If this was going to pull back off the open, hold, and maybe chop around and then start pushing up, maybe we could set up some type of a flag breakout to the upside. And that didn't happen, right? So just knowing that and going along with that plan now starts to shift my momentum and my bias to short. Now, I'm not really a fan of trading right off the open unless something is super, super clean. So for example, I would have traded the first 5-minute bar if we took out this previous swing high. This is what I call the opening drive. So if we were able to take out that previous swing high, I would have been long. If we were able on the first candle to take out this swing low at about 25,125, 127, I would have been short. Now you can see that the first 5-minute candle, it does pull back very aggressively. In fact, it pulls back 65 points. There was no sweep of or taking of the high or the low from the two previous swings. So with that being said, now I've got to kind of sit on my hands. I've got to be patient. As this next candle opens up here, it starts to spike. One thing that I'm noticing about the second 5-minute candle of the day is that it doesn't take out the opening 5-minute candle high. And when it doesn't do that, it starts to push down. So what I'm looking for now is to now start correlating and putting some, building some confluence. Okay, what else do I have that would give me a reason to go short? Well, if I look at the first 5-minute candle, it's a 20 SMA trade. Okay, and if I look at the low, that's sitting at a price of 25,155. And my next area of demand is sitting at 25,140s. So as soon as we start to pull back, or as soon as we start to bounce, and it gets rejected at this 10 and 20-day moving average, and it starts to pull back, I jump short as we lose this linear regression and this 50 EMA SMA with anticipation. Again, not something that I would recommend to do is try to anticipate moves. But when you have a little bit more experience, here's the number one thing. If you're comfortable with the number of contracts and the amount of money that you want to risk on the trade, be my guest. So like I said, I try to set up my first couple trades, obviously inside the first 30 minutes with 3 to 5 micros. So that way, if something gets away from me, it's not going to be too detrimental to my account. As it starts to push down below this linear regression and below this 50 SMA, I take it short with anticipating a 20 SMA break into these 140s. We're able to take a nice 6-7 point winner there. Now, once we start to continue to flush, now I need to see something else. And what I mean by seeing something else is I need to see it bounce, get rejected, and lose the lows. I need to see it bounce, pull back, put in a higher low, and then take out the previous swing high for a long. So what I was waiting for in this particular situation was to get below that 30-minute ORB low, below that 15-minute opening range low. Now, here was the tricky part about it, is that if you notice where that 15-minute ORB, that 30-minute ORB low was at, that was sitting at a price of 25,116. Okay, so 21,116. If you look at the rising support, okay, the very last support that I have on this chart, other than this linear regression way down here, it's the 200 SMA. So I have to respect that. Meaning, if I'm going to take this short through the 30-minute ORB, I need to be in, I need to be out quickly, because if this thing spikes down and bounces, which you always have to anticipate, and today's a pretty good example of that, you have to understand that you're going to get trapped very quickly and very aggressively. So if you look at the low in real time, when you're watching the markets play out and you're kind of watching all this chop and you're waiting for this to get confirmed, what you need to do is analyze how much potential do you have. And if you look at the low of 25,148 and you look at where the 200 SMA is sitting at, it's sitting at about 107. So from a price of 25,116, right? 25,116 all the way down to a price of 25,107, you're looking at about just shy of 10 points. So with that in mind, I already know going into this 15-minute / 30-minute opening range short, I'm not going to catch 10 points. I might not catch 15. I probably sure as hell not going to catch 20 points. What can I do to be involved? What I can do is now increase my size, going from about 3 to 5 micros to 1 to 2 minis. Again, this is going to depend on what your account size is, how much cushion you have. If you push it to 1 mini and you look for like 4 points, right? Maybe we look for half that range. If there's enough range for 8 to 10 points, look for half of the range. And if you can get it, you're looking at a quick $80 trade, right? So that's exactly what I did. I put a hard take profit at 4.5 points. If it was going to get filled, it was going to get filled. If not, I just got to get the hell out of the trade. Luckily, I was able to get filled on that. And that was that trade. Now, I waited for the bounce because what I thought was going to happen here was we were going to come back up into this range. I thought we were going to get rejected here, and I thought this was going to eventually push down and lose this 200. That is the trade I would have been licking my chops for. That would have been one bounce, 2 legs down. That did not happen. What I was waiting for, and I posted this in the community inside of the Evolution Traders, was, guys, we are not going to go higher until we break and close over the linear regression. That was evident. 8:40 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. Until we break over this linear regression and start to take out this little swing high right here from 7:20 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, this market's not going anywhere, right? So right here at 8:40, between 8:40 and 8:45, you get that break and close right at that linear regression. So now all I'm doing is licking my chops, because this previous candle that breaks the linear regression and your 50 SMA, 50 EMA, or it's actually the SMA here because the EMA is right below it, the 50 SMA, it's a 14-point range. So I know automatically my max pain is 14 points. I fired into this with 2 mini contracts and took this for a nice one hell of a ride. It shoots up 26 points. Again, I'm a scalper. I'm never going to catch the whole move. I got out of this for about 9 points. So I'm happy with that, because now we're starting to build a cushion. Okay. So as you can see, market pulls back. And if you look at this break and retest of this linear regression and this 50 SMA, there's an opportunity to get back long here. And the reason why I say get back long here is because once you're playing price action and you're playing momentum, you're kind of just riding the waves. Okay, that's all you're doing. You're playing the breakouts. Okay, you're just taking a very quick scalp on the breakouts. You're allowing it to pull back, and then once it breaks and retests and holds, now you can get in and let it do its thing, chop around, and kind of grind it back up higher. I did not take this long. I wish I would have. Okay, it was a 20 SMA trade. Again, sitting at the computer screen for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. At this point in time, it gets a little draining. So I was not at the computer screen here. And to be honest, even if I was, with the amount of money that I was up on that, over like $350, $400 at this point in time, there was no real reason that I probably would have taken it. So I'm glad I kind of took that break. As I kind of watched the market sweep this previous swing high here, I was not looking no more to go long, because it's just too late in the day. If anything, if we were going to take this swing high from pre-market, I was going to look for the reversal, and that was the last trade of the day that I caught. I did not get in here. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to catch the high. What I waited for to happen was to pull back, see if it was going to continue to take out highs. If not, look for that 20 SMA trade. That 20 SMA trade set up at 12:15 Pacific Standard Time, so during power hour, and the range on this candle was 8.5 points. I don't know anyone in their right mind who would not be ecstatic to be able to take a trade with only 8.5 points risk on the NASDAQ with big potential. Big potential meaning we can target the 50 SMA, we can target the linear regression, and we can target the next one down. Again, I did not ride it all the way down. You guys know me, I'm a scalper, but with 8.5 points worth of risk, I was able to sneeze in here with 2 mini contracts and ride this down into the break of that 50 SMA at 25,212. So if you look at the low price, 25,227, we are talking about a 12 to 13, 12 to 14 point move here on 2 mini contracts. Fantastic move. Wish I would have held longer, would have made triple, quadruple the amount of money. That's not my style. Get in, get out, and identify the move. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button on it. If you guys need Apex evaluations, you guys can use my discount code DAnthony. That link is down in the description box. They're 80% off with $85 activation fees. I will see all of you guys on the next video.